Hello YouTubers, welcome back to my channel. I wanted to start this video off about everything that is going on in the world. And we know that there's a lot of chaos and a lot of divisiveness going on right now that I'm just not going to get into it. But just know that my heart is saddened by recent events, and I just think that this is a time to really, reflect on a lot of things that are happening. Not only with the virus, we're still in lockdown where I live, and some places have opened up a little bit more, but I still choose to not really go out because I think there's a lot that can still happen, and I'm just trying to do my part. And if I don't have to go out, I'm not going to. And so I get to sit here and film my videos for you guys, which I do have another one that I'm going to put out later today that was prior to all of what's going on, and I just kind of wanted to get something out to just show that I'm thinking about what's going on in the world, and just wanted to say that my heart is saddened by all of these events, and to say that I hope that you are safe wherever you are in the world, and let's just try to do our part to make the world a better place, which, things are going to happen. They've been happening and they'll continue to happen. But, what we decide to do, the choices that we make can always just make the world that much better by making good choices. And with that said, I wanted to address the article that was in Tatler. Now, when I first saw the article, I was like, wow, this is so interesting, because it talked about Catherine being a great leader, a woman who has really grown into her role, someone who has really taken on their job, Catherine taking on her job to do what she is going to do and continue to do, and how she's come into that role in a sense, and how her coming into this role as the wife of a future king has somewhat elevated her because of the choices that Meghan Markle made by leaving, and leaving as a senior royal in the royal family. And to me, it looked like it was a really good article to really kind of validate the things that I was thinking already about Catherine. And then some things were written in the article that made it look like, well, she's overworked, she's tired, she's really stressed, she's not happy about all the demands that have come on her since Meghan and Harry left. And it didn't really paint her in a good light in certain parts of the article, because it also talked about how her mother, Catherine's mother, I think her name is Carol, she had a hard time adjusting to the high society, and it made some digs at Prince William being heavily reliant, like she's like a mother to him. And it said some things that could have not been true, only because now we see that Kate is actually going to be suing the Tatler, or she has sent them a letter to cease and desist. I know there was a recent article, I read the headline, that she's not happy with the article because some of the things just weren't true. And then I saw on Harry Markle that people were talking about how Meghan may have planted some of those via her friends as the sources for Tatler. And then I thought, wow, that's interesting. That could have happened. That could have been something with Meghan could have, had her influence could have been into that article, which painted Catherine in a negative light in parts of the article. But I don't know if you've read it or not, but I'll leave a link below for the article, and I think you should read it. Because one thing it did mention, it talked about her being bland, but it showed her blandness in a great way, in a good way. And then when you read that, then you'll understand what I meant when I talked about Catherine being bland. And I just thought I would just say that quickly so that you can kind of see that that was also said in this article, and it said it in a way that how I was thinking, and it's a good way. So read it if you can. And I didn't really want to elaborate on that article as I had intended to do as Catherine the Great, because it looks like Meghan may have had her hand in the article, and William and Kate are not happy about some of the things that were said. They say they're not true. And then the magazine publisher, they're like, well, we stand by our reporter. She had spoken with Kensington Palace, the reps over at Williams and Kate's offices, and they knew we were doing this article, although they did not choose to participate in helping with the article. They knew that they were writing this article. So there, this is some of that kind of murky area where, there was probably an assistant who just didn't convey a lot of things to William and Catherine, and they were probably out of the loop on some things, but her offices may have known about some things. Meghan could have had her hand in it, and it just started to look like, wow, I'm not sure I really want to highlight this article and really talk about it with there being some kind of skepticism with the sources. Although, as you know, I am not a journalist, but I didn't want to get in between the back and forth of this being true, that not being true. And so with that said, what I am going to do, I am just going to validate the things from the article that I thought were relevant, which are what they said about Kate and her blandness. And the other thing was how Meghan's exit of the royal family has really elevated Catherine. It has elevated her to be more in her role as a woman who is all about duty, who is all about serving the people. And she's doing it in a very grandiose way, in a way that's very admirable. She's doing it in a way that is committed to what she has signed up for. And she's doing it despite the negative press that Catherine got. And it just shows you how Catherine was able to navigate the same things that Meghan couldn't navigate. And when you look at those two things, you look and see how Kate was able to still, despite everything that was said about her in that article, in the British press about her, she was still able to hang in there. And her being able to hold out longer, to me, makes her the winner in a sense, that she's able to really to get what's coming to her, which is going to be a lot of people really thanking her for hanging in there and being, putting the people first and being a strong woman in a sense that despite all the noise that was going on around Catherine, she was able to hang in there. And then you have the example of Meghan, who she, despite everything, was not able to hang in there. She had to leave. And the only difference really between the two is that Catherine is married to the number one. Meghan is not. And Meghan has, she comes from a background where she is half black. And we know that there can be some things around that in terms of biases. But other than those two things, they pretty much had the same deal. They had the exact same deal. But Meghan wasn't able to hang in there. Despite the facts that I don't think the British press was racist towards her. I think you had a few people who did some nasty things, but it wasn't the majority. She got a lot of love and admiration from the British people. She had no real reason to do what she did. And she only did what she did for selfish reasons. She did it because it was all about her. And despite trying to do what she knew she signed up for, she just couldn't do it. But she could have really done it. She really could have, if she wanted to. But as we know, it was based on a lie. The whole Megxit thing, her whole purpose was based on a lie. And like I said, with her trying to pull the wool over our eyes, that's all Meghan had been trying to do from the very beginning. And so that's why I think anything that Meghan tries to do now, any kind of spin she tries to do now, any kind of cleanup that Meghan tries to do now in her new role, it's not going to work. Because the foundation of everything that she did was built on a lie. And that's going to be my next video that I go into, that I may end up posting today. But check that out, because that to me kind of just shows it's the missteps that they've made the whole way, the missteps that Meghan has made. And so Catherine has been able to hold steadfast in her role, and it is going to pay off for her. And she looks like she's doing a great job. I think she's doing a really good job. So we also have some things going on with Meghan and Harry now in LA, how they may be moving to New York now. And to me, it just doesn't seem like this whole Hollywood thing is just not going to work for them. And I think she's starting to see that. That's why you may be starting to see stories about them leaving to go to New York. Because she's like, I'm not so sure this LA thing is going to work out. She's starting to see it. And what's going to happen is she's going to paint Harry as the fall guy when it doesn't work out, trying to say it was Harry who wanted to go to California. And we all know that is just such a lie. It is not true. Because think about this. I mean, there's so much to think about, right? There's just so much to think about when you look back at what has happened, to know that that story is just completely false. Why would she even put out there that she wants a role as a superhero? She didn't get nobody calling her about no good superhero scripts. Then she was like, she's not returning to acting. Well, because no one was sending her any scripts that were superheroes. She didn't get any offers to work with Ava DuVernay. She wanted to work with great directors. She didn't get any A-list directors calling to work with her. And then you get this article, oh, well, she has no plans to return to acting. There. But we know that's not true, because she was planning stories because she wanted the offers to start coming in. And when they weren't, she was like, wow, I don't know, this is going to work out. So we can see the narrative is going to keep changing. It's going to keep changing. And she's going to have to keep trying to clean that one up, clean it up, because it's just not going to work. It's all built on a lie. And her whole existence into this royal family was built on a lie that she's going to keep having to clean up and clean up and clean up, because she's not authentic. She's not what she's trying to portray herself to be. And this is why I talk about what I'm saying. This is why I talk about what I talk about, because I think there's a lot to learn. There's a lot to learn from her missteps, her trying to be one way, but she's not really that way. And until she realizes that she needs to make better choices, and until she starts to realize that she's just got to go back and try to just come clean with everything that she planted and that she was trying to do, she's going to always keep trying to cover it up. Have you ever heard when people start to tell a lie and they got to cover up that lie to cover up the lie, to cover up the other lie? Like, it's just like a cycle that's going to keep having to just, and before you know it, she is snowballed into something that's not even her anymore, because it's not authentic. It's not really her. And her whole existence, to me, has been not really an authentic person to begin with. So maybe she has to have this really big crash of humility, where she is just stripped of everything, to really have that I'm sorry moment. Maybe.